I apologize, this review comes out really late, like 10 days after the movie release. I got firings for not putting up this review actually. People were really asking me to voice their opinions about this film. So let's get right into this because I don't want to delay this no further. So it, not IT, it. It stands for something that you can't put it into words. It is based out of the Stephen King novel that came out in the late 1900s or so, I'm not sure when. Pretty old, but there was a mini-series about this book in 1990s. It was a two-part mini-series, and what we saw released 10 days earlier was the first part of this mini-series. I can say that the German film director Andy Muschietti has done a fantastic job in directing this film. Actually, I had full expectations of a horror film while going into this film. I was waiting to be creeped out, but that was not the case. Let me tell you this was not a straight up horror film. The scare factor was pretty low for me in certain areas. I mean, it depends on how much you actually are creeped out by clowns. For me, clowns are such a scary factor. Actually, when I went about recommending this film for people to watch it, people were like, is it really better than Annabelle? Is it better than Annabelle Creation that came out earlier? How is the horror factor and all? I just can't put this and that film together. People have some weird comparisons, to be honest. This is not exactly a horror film, as I mentioned before. This is about 7 kids surviving their worst fear of this demonic creature called It. And we don't even know whether it's a demonic creature as such. With Annabelle Creation or with Conjuring, we get the usual routine of a demonic possession or some sort of exorcism happening or people surviving the night or something like that. But it does not play out in that pattern. This movie is about the 7 kids who go against this creature. I mean, who actually embrace their fear and go against this creature. That's it. It's as simple as that. Richie Tozier is fantastic in this film. Actually, he's the one who plays the lead in Stranger Things as well. I mean, he brought out the most laughs in this film as well. The dialogues were fluent and consistent. Even though it seemed like a horror film, I was laughing my ass off on certain dialogues that were being said. And I don't know, the way these kids talk, it's like vulgarity thrown here and there. I mean, that's how kids talk when they're alone, I guess, and the director has shown that in a very compelling manner. The most surprising thing about this film, before this film came out, was that this movie had an R rating. And you know, I was pretty skeptical about it because a film starring 7 kids and a clown, how can it have an R rating? Maybe I thought there should be some vulgarity or explicit scenes as such, but that's not the case. It's due to the child violence. I mean, most horror movies tend to not show much violence towards this kids as such, but this movie doesn't hold back. So this movie goes all out when it comes to violence against kids. That's why the R rating is there in place, because there could be a definite section of the audience that can get turned off by this, especially when little children are getting hurt in a horror movie, and that too in a very gory and brutal manner as such. When I'm talking about it, I refer to Pennywise the dancing clown, of course the major antagonist in this film. I can't put his performance into words for this is one of the finest performances I've seen to date. And when Bill Skarsgård portrays Pennywise the dancing clown, it is definitely creepy. I mean, there are times I went at certain scenes as such, but it's, again, I'm not saying it's due to the scare factor. It is because of how these kids are being affected by this clown. We fall in love with all those 7 leads so much. There's so much character development put into place that we actually fall in love with these 7 kids, and we are worried about what happens to them as well. This movie was fantastic for me, and this is my rating. So there might be people out there who disagree with this rating, who say that this movie is not scary as such. I'm not giving this rating as per the scare factor. I'm not rating this film as a horror film. I'm saying I'm giving this rating as per a good film that was very different from all the horror films that we have seen recently. It was fantastic. I recommend you guys to definitely go watch in a nearby screen. You are most definitely bound to love it. I'm 100% sure nobody is going to come out with a negative feedback saying, oh, why did they watch the film? As far as I can see, everyone quite enjoyed the film. And over the last 10 days, I've been hearing some quite positive signs as well. Go for it and enjoy it, have fun. And this is Siddharth saying bye-bye for now. Take care.